saving our wombats one volunteer at a time. State Member Update by Nicole Werner, MP. Across Victoria, hundreds of wombats are dying from a disease we already know how to treat. In Warrandyte and surrounding communities, that responsibility has fallen not to government, but to volunteers like Linda Stammers, Michelle Evans, and Katja Goodwin. These remarkable women are part of Mange Management Victoria, a grassroots network of more than 140 volunteers responding to reports of sick wombats across the state. Here in Warrandyte, North Warrandyte, Wonga Park and Kangaroo Ground, they are on the front line. In the past year alone, the network has responded to more than 1,600 reports of wombats suffering from mange, with hundreds of those cases coming from Manningham and Nillumbik. Sarcoptic mange is a brutal disease caused by an introduced mite that burrows beneath the skin. It leads to relentless itching, hair loss, open wounds, and infection. Without treatment, it is always fatal, and the suffering is prolonged. In some regions, up to 90% of wombat populations have been affected. The disease spreads easily between wombats and can also impact pets and livestock. What makes this so confronting is that mange is both preventable and treatable. What it requires is funding, and that is where the Victorian Government is falling short. At this year's Warrandyte Festival, I was proud to see Linda, Michelle and Katja recognised as festival monarchs alongside other outstanding local contributors. It was a moment that captured the very best of our community. But behind that pride sits a real frustration. These volunteers are filling a gap that should not exist. They are doing vital wildlife management work with passion and persistence, but with minimal financial support. I've raised this directly in Parliament, asking the Minister for Environment what funding is currently allocated to mange treatment across Victoria and why it falls so far short of what is needed. After sustained advocacy, I welcome the Government's recent funding commitment to Mange Management Victoria. It's a positive step, and one that reflects the tireless efforts of volunteers like Michelle Evans and her team. But the reality is that $50,000 per year for 2 years falls well short of what is needed. With more than 1,600 cases reported last year and treatment costing around $100 per dose, the organisation still faces a shortfall of around $100,000 just to maintain its current work. This is not about expanding services, it's about sustaining them. A small, short-term contribution cannot support a statewide response to a disease that is widespread, accelerating, and fatal without treatment. The comparison with New South Wales is telling. Their government has invested millions into managing wombat mange. In Victoria, we continue to rely overwhelmingly on volunteers and donations. That is not a strategy. It's a failure of responsibility. Treating a single wombat is complex and time-intensive. Volunteers must locate affected animals and administer treatment using long-handled applicators or specially designed flaps at burrow entrances. A course of treatment can last up to 12 weeks, with ongoing monitoring required. Local support has made a difference. Community Bank Warrandyte and Manningham City Council have both provided grants to help fund essential medicines, and their contributions are deeply appreciated. Mange Management also equips landholders with free treatment kits and guidance, allowing residents to care for wombats on their own properties and extend the reach of this work. As Katja, known locally as Katie Wombats, puts it,
"It truly takes a village, from the person who reports a sick wombat to the landholder who grants access, to the volunteer heading out at dusk with treatment. Every single person plays a role in saving that animal's life."
She's absolutely right, but that village should include the government. In my maiden speech, I committed to protecting the green wedge and everything that makes Warrandyte unique. Our wombats are part of that identity. They belong to this landscape just as much as the river, the sandstone ridges, and the old-growth trees. When we lose them to a disease we know how to treat because funding is not there, we lose something we cannot replace. I will continue to raise this issue in Parliament until we see meaningful investment and real action. In the meantime, if you see a wombat showing signs of mange, such as hair loss, crusted skin, or unusual daytime activity, please report it. If you are a landholder and would like a free treatment kit, Mange Management can assist. If you would like to support their work, I encourage you to visit mangemanagement.org.au. Our community has always stepped up to protect what matters. Now is the time for government to do the same. Nicole Werner is the member for Warrandyte in the Victorian Legislative Assembly.